Now you do plan on having dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right? Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today I'm taking a look at the Hasbro San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Collector and Thor Ragnarok Grandmaster. Too many words! Yes, Hasbro sent me review samples of their Marvel Legends San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, and it's right here. It's amazing. We get to take an early look at this, decide if you want it, decide if you don't want it, and we'll go from there. Looking at the package, there's no way to get away from the glare because it's rounded, the plastic here. So if you turn it this way, still picking up lights, still picking up lights. I can turn off this light and you get a better look at Grandmaster here. I like the background. I like how the whole scene is integrated into the packaging. We turn this one off over here, and for Collector, same thing. We get a look at Nowhere. We get that tease right there. It's just a piece of cardboard set off the background. On the back for Grandmaster, you get the poster for Thor Ragnarok. For Collector over here, you get Guardians of the Galaxy. You get bios for each character. Now, when I got this out of the box, I didn't realize this packaging folded up into a tube, essentially. Hasbro goes all out on their San Diego Comic-Con packaging, and this is cool, but ooh, this will eat a lot of space in your backpack. But that's not any different from any other year, so not a huge deal. Now, I'm going to place explosives here, 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 and here, and try to get this thing open. If you're one to save the packaging, but want to check out the figure, you can open the bottom up and there you go. For the sake of being thorough, here are the inside of the packages without all the plastic, without all the glare. Behind Grandmaster, appropriately Ragnarok-y. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going with it. The chair is offset off the background here, pop-up style, so it looks 3D and it looks cool behind the figure, but once you get it open, it's just kind of, it's the background. And then behind the Collector, you can see better the different cells, the different things in there. And then, again, I wish you were a real dog, but maybe they'll give us Cosmo someday, hopefully. So if you took these out, maybe if you did some strategic cutting and such, you could use these as kind of dioramas to put the figures in, fit other figures in there, or you can just toss them, whatever you want to do. The well-dressed business guy is completely sick of his hippie brother. And there it is, all out of the package, and some surprises here, and some weirdness, but some coolness too. There's some things I didn't see in promotional pictures, but there's also some things that are better in person than what I expected from this set. Let's start with the Grandmaster because he's already hitting in the Korg set right now. A lot of people already have this. I don't. This is actually the first new Marvel Legends I've had in a while that wasn't a standard series. I haven't gotten any of the 80s stuff, so this is my first time handling this Jeff Goldblum figure. And as far as I can tell, I'm looking at pictures and this is fairly accurate to the movie. But that's the upside of waiting a year or two before making your action figures. This wasn't a character that needed to be out when the movie was out. This is a cool come back and get you later character. There's a weird but very, very cool swirly texture to the jacket with the one sleeve. Why is this sleeve open? And you can tell they're brothers because they have the same fashion sense. But that texture carries all the way down here to the ground. Underneath are some pants. They're just plain, but nice wrinkle work. It looks like pants. What more do you want? On this sleeve, again, nice wrinklage coming down to, oh, I like this bracer. The robe is a little bit restrictive because it comes down here, it pegs right here in the front, and then it hangs down. It's fairly soft, but it being a cone coming to the back, you're not going to get a lot of legs. You're definitely not going to sit down. But then it gets to the bottom and it's this. And I can't fault this sculpt. It looks amazing. It looks like actual cloth coming down to the ground and, you know, flaring out a little bit. And as you notice, it works like a kickstand really, really well. But it's going to hinder some dynamic posing as you go. Well, I guess not bad, but you're stuck with that hanging down the whole time. But he also wasn't running after people, was he? He barely walked in the movie. But I want to take a look under here. This peg right here, if you pull just, there you go. At first I thought this was the peg head, and I was like, how the hell did they get that through that little hole? But it's the peg. It's a reinforced hole, so it's not just going to come apart. Pull this off, see what's going on here. What's happening, Captain High Pants? Interesting point of our... Whoa, how'd you go further? Oh, well, you can see the whole dumbbell joint down in there. No, it's not a dumbbell. At the bottom, it's just seated inside the crotch. At the top, you can see the ball joint, but man, that thing's got a lot of movement. You open it up too much, it gaps right there, and then it tries to catch on the belt because the belt is actually a soft plastic piece in front of that. That's kind of cool. That is kind of creepy. And then finally, there is the head. Without the jacket, his neck looks kind of long, but man, the likeness may be a little bit off, but just look at that photo reel. Look at the darkness under the eyes. I think that's what sells it right there. The hair is a separate piece glued on, and they did a nice job with the wash here. And I don't usually care for open mouth sculpts, but man, that one, it's just too good. And then we get to the collector, the same great attention to detail as the Grandmaster. Again, several years, they've had time to get this sculpt pretty damn close to the movie. And in the movie, 99% of the time, this is how you see him, so the torso looks pretty accurate. In fact, there's a very nice texture to the red here. But this chain, or these beads, or whatever they are, that's the biggie for me. That's what draws my eye every time I look at this figure. It just stands out against the rest of it. The gold, the red, the blue. Down to the pants, again, they're pants, they have wrinkles. It's actually shared between the two figures, at least from the thigh swivel down to the bottom. The hips are different. There's more wrinkles to the collector, not so much on Grandmaster. But those legs and even the crotch piece, at least right here, are reused from the new suit body we got with the Nick Fury from Captain Marvel. Again, we have the sleeve on the left arm, not so much sleeve on the right, and the Space Cow cape. It's dynamic. It looks good, but it is kind of a hard candy shell. It's just a peg in the back. It's not near as complicated as Grandmaster. We get to the back of the figure, fairly plain, but again, it's hidden by the cape, not a huge deal. And the gold bloom sculpt may be a little bit off, but here, oh man, Del Toro, all the way. Again, the darkness under the eyes just punches it. It puts it over the top. And again, the separate hairpiece on top, sometimes this doesn't work out, but here, they placed it really well. It works. And there's also that same shading to bring out all that beautiful detail to the hair. The other wacky thing that ties these two together, besides their fashion sense of sleeve on the left, not so much sleeve on the right, look at the articulation. Why did Hasbro put a hinge and swivel on both the left arms? And then on the right, on both of them, is a double hinge elbow with a bicep swivel. The arms aren't shared between the two on either side. It's a crazy setup. Maybe when you get to a certain thickness, you can't put a double elbow in there, or because of this detail shooting all the way up to here, or maybe it's because it hangs loose on the bottom here. For some reason, maybe they couldn't put double hinges on this side. It's just a weird, wacky thing that sticks out at me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not griping about it. I mean, the articulation still kinda, I haven't even bent this. Let's see how far it goes. Okay. Pretty much 90. And then over here, you can't deny that's better. The left does make it easier for beautiful. I forgot to point out the beautiful sculpt down here on Grandmaster's feet. Just look at the ring work and the chain and the sandal coming up and over, and they even painted the toenails blue. That's to match his fingernails, all but that pinky. I'm not sure if that's accurate or if it was just too hard to get in there and do paint on that kind of more dynamic hand look. Going over articulation, there is a hinge in the neck with the ball going up into the head. Excellent up. Can bury his chin. That looks freaky as hell. A little bit of tilt just to give you kind of a hinge at the shoulder goes up, swivels all the way around. Swivel at the bicep on the right. Double elbow comes completely up, while the left only comes up to 90, and then it swivels. Hinge, swivel. We already talked about the excellent articulation in the torso. Big old ball goes forward, goes back. Tilt, tilt. This is one freaky figure. He only moves like that on his birthday. And then that swivels, travel all the way down the hips. There's a ball coming out to there, comes forward. Back, not so much. Out, not bad at all. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee doesn't quite come all the way up, but damn impressive. It doesn't travel that far because of the extra wrinkles back here. Swivel at the foot, but there is a hinge going back. There's a hinge going forward, and then forward-facing pin for rocker. For collector, essentially the same thing, but it's a little bit more hindered. Hinge at the neck going up to a ball in the head, can look up. Bury the chin, a little bit of tilt, a little bit of looseness actually. Swivel, arm hinges up, rotates, swivel at the bicep, double elbow on the right all the way up, hinges swivel, elbow on the left up to 90, rotation, hinge, swivel. Collector's torso is more standard ball joint, not a lot of range. Forward, back, tilt, tilt, swivel. There's also a swivel down here at the waist hidden behind the shirt. Ball coming out to the hip, comes up, no back at all. Out, rotation at the thigh, double knee, again, same legs, so same distance. Rotation at the ankle too. Hinge back, hinge forward, forward-facing pin for rocker. For accessories, Grandmaster comes with his melting stick. It's swirly twirly gold. What can I say? I dig it, and especially with the movie being like it is, it totally works. But there is paint up here on the end to kind of differentiate the ball from the rest of the stick. It is kind of a flimsy plastic. You can see slight bow to it from the packaging. So maybe a little heat, or I'm just going to put it in his hand and he can hold it straight. Works perfectly, two hands, or he can just hold it, but it doesn't quite reach the ground. I guess, well, if you bring it right there, that looks okay. Like I said, this figure also comes in a 2-pack with Korg right now in the 80th anniversary line. The big difference is this one is smiling, whereas the one with Korg is stern face. He's not smiling. But the other big difference is you get a melted prisoner with this 2-pack. I've been sitting here for 2 minutes trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to say about this. Nicely sculpted, you know, the scrubbing bubbles look amazing. I do like the metallic blue. It doesn't really help that my background nearly matches it, but it's a cool little thing. It's going to sit in the background. It is just a hollow piece though. There's nothing to the inside, so it's it works for what it's supposed to. For collector, we get the orb again, which makes sense. In Guardians of the Galaxy, he was opening the orb. He was the guy that explains what all the Infinity Stones are. This is cool, but we've gotten this before. Collector also, well, collected the ether too, so I would have liked to have seen it here, but that would have been the wrong movie. That was a Thor movie, wasn't it? Dark World? And then besides this head, which, I love this thing, you can pop that off, and he also comes with this one. Same great detail to the hair, but he's wearing the goggles here. They could have half-assed it here and just left it the metal color of the plastic, but they actually came in with a dry brush of a lighter gray or a silver of some kind and aged it a little bit. Brought out the detail. I appreciate that. As I was standing them up for comparisons, I noticed that the sheen is a little bit different from the upper torso to the lower torso. It's not a huge deal. It's not as noticeable in person, but I guess it's something to point out. The reason more than likely being this is a hard plastic up top, this is a softer kind of rubber type material to get out of the way of articulation down here. Articulation, that's how we say it. For comparison, here is the Collector and Grandmaster together. They can't deny each other at a company picnic. You boys look just like your mother. Here's Grandmaster with the Marvel Legends Thor Ragnarok Valkyrie and Thor. Thor may be a little bit big right here. But in my head mythology, Thor can be a bigger guy. Even Valkyrie can be bigger than Grandmaster. They're Asgardians. I'm okay with godlike beings being a little bit bigger. And then here he is with the SH Figure Arts Ragnarok Thor and the Marvel Legends Ragnarok Loki. Still a little bit smaller than Loki, but it still works overall. And then here's Collector with, well, I know these are Guardians of the Galaxy 2 versions, but I like them better. The Marvel Legends Gamora and Marvel Legends Star-Lord with a custom casting cave head. And then he looks pretty good with the SH Figure Arts Thanos, not so much with the SH Figure Arts Star-Lord. And then for giggles, here's a Tale of Two Del Toros. They're not quite the same size, but they're pretty close. And why do I think this is more Star Wars than this? I don't know. So at the end of the day, not the most dynamic figures of characters that really weren't that dynamic in movies. So for me, at least, it totally works out. Don't get me wrong, there is articulation and such, and if you really wanted to get down and dirty. But when I picture these two characters, they're just standing there. They're giving orders, or they're monologuing. You know, they're just there to be there. I feel like where these figures shine is they nailed the likenesses, the look, the overall feel of the characters. Then it being an exclusive comes into play. Like I've said a couple times, Grandmaster is available right now in the 80th line with Korg. So it coming out at the same time as an exclusive piece at San Diego, it's okay. I feel like the draw for this set is Collector. But now I have this set, and I would have picked it up at the show. I was already planning on it before Hasbro went, oh, hey, we're going to send this to you. But I still need Korg. So I'm going to end up with two Grandmasters, but it's also Jeff Goldblum. I mean, we already have this one, and then we have another one with a more stern face, and then Mattel is giving us a Jurassic Park Jeff Goldblum. So technically 2 action figures of Jeff Goldblum in the same year. Kind of 3. And then like I already showed, now I have 2 Benicio del Toros in the collection. That's crazy. So this should be available at other shows. It should be available on Hasbro Pulse. Hopefully a lot of people can get it, because if you're an MCU collector, you need, well, a collector. So hopefully this has helped you decide a little bit if you should, you know, F5 the hell out of the site later on or stand in line at the show. However you get your exclusives. But just looking at them standing right here, right now, they're... So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.